Ah, there you are. So, if you live anywhere in the northern states or southern Canada, then it's corn season. And who doesn't love that beautiful bicolor sweetness? It's too bad it's in season for such a short time. So, grab yourself some, and I'll show you how to cook it. Now, which way's the kitchen? No, it's this way. Oh, welcome to the basics. Corn on the cob really is quite simple. And a lot of what I'm going to do today is actually my preference. I'll try to differentiate between what I like to do and what you really should be doing with your corn. So let's start with the product itself. You're looking for nice, healthy, fresh corn because it's the season, right? Well, the stuff I have today is not a real great example of that. It's not as fresh as you might like. First of all, some anatomy of our corn. So the outside part here that's green, and it's good that it's green, that's telling me it's fresh, this is the husk. Up here, this stuff that's kind of gone brown on the top that looks like hair, this is the silk to it. And then inside, we have the kernels themselves. Preferably, if you're getting super fresh corn, like if you're buying it straight from the farmer, which I would recommend if you've got an outlet of that sort, it should be still yellow and green on top here and not all crusted and brown together. I've got the next best thing, which mine today came from a grocery store, which is not so bad, but you want to make sure that you look for healthy corn in that case too. Now when you go to that grocery store, you're going to find probably a bin of corn there, and you're going to find that there's a sign beside it, most likely, that says something polite but also strong, like, "Please do not husk the corn." The reason for that is twofold. One, if you take and remove all that husk right there in the grocery store, there's a pile of it on top of the corn, and we have to, the rest of the customers, sift through to find the existing corn cobs. Additionally, it makes a mess for them, and then some poor employee has to come along and try to clean it up for them. So please respect the sign. But then, as the consumer, we have our own problem there, because I want to ensure that I'm getting a good cob of corn and not one that is moldy or rotten or something else like that. So how do we get the best of both worlds here? Both respecting the grocery store and getting a product that we like. Well, let me suggest a compromise. If you take a corn cob that you think is nice out of the bin and take and pinch the top and kind of split it as if you're going to husk the corn and just pull down the first maybe quarter of the corn cob, you'll get access to the kernels inside. They should look like they are tightly packed together and that they're nice and firm. If you see that they're spread apart or all shriveled or brown or some other color, then that's probably a cob that you want to leave and not purchase. So have a nice peek inside. If they all look to your liking, bring them home so that you can cook them. So let's get to husking these things. But a few suggestions for you, if I may. If you have little ones, young ones in your life who you'd like to remove from the electronic screens and get them doing something else productive, give the husking job to them because it's a bit tedious to do. And where should they do it? Well, not in your lovely kitchen. I would recommend that they do it outside. Why? Well, let me illustrate for you now why. Last one. All right, let me show you with this one what exactly we want to do. So you've already got that split because you checked it earlier. I'm going to pull on that and pull right down to the base. That'll probably come off there. Then you'll notice all this here. This is called, again, the silk at the top. Actually, quick fact with that, there is a piece of silk there for every kernel that you have inside, assuming that your corn was pollinated properly. So there at the top with the silk, I'm going to make sure I grab all of that silk, and kind of the rest of the husk will come with it. And I'm going to pull that right down to the base. And when I get to the base, if there isn't any more of that stem there, I'm going to break it off right at the base and remove it. Now, I did notice while I was going that my screening method failed me on one of my cobs here. I do have a section that has been affected by who knows what. Never fear, this is not lost. We can take and just chop off the top and bottom sections and keep those. They'll cook just fine in our pot the same way as the rest of them. Or if you're feeling strong or you're outside with it, you can just break off that section and we will use those in the pot later. Ugh. To cook your corn, take a large stock pot, one that you are sure will fit a full cob of corn. If you don't have one that's large enough to fit a full cob, you can break these in half and do it that way as well. Even for myself, because I've got a dozen corn here, I'm not going to be able to fit that all in my pot, so I'm actually going to cook it in 2 batches in order to get it done. So take that pot and fill it half to 2/3 full of water. Not much further than that, because you need to leave room for that corn. It's going to displace the water. If you put too much in, it's going to overflow. Not enough, and you won't have enough to actually boil your corn. I don't salt my water. This is my personal preference. I like to do that with my application at the end because I really like that fresh corn taste. But if you prefer, you can salt your water as well, and that will cook your corn a little bit faster as well. So take that pot of water, for me, just fresh water, and I've put it in as hot as I can to speed up the process, and put that over the stove and bring it to a rolling boil, so right up to 100 degrees, as hot as you can get it before we go and put in the corn. My water is at a rolling boil, so I'm going to go ahead and drop my corn. Now, to be safe, I'm going to use some tongs here to avoid splashing hot water on myself. How long should I let my corn boil there? Well, my father-in-law would say you should boil it for 3 minutes, no more, no less. And after years of testing that out, I would have to say he's right. So I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes and then extract. Time is up. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out with my tongs, of course. And then I'm going to take those right onto a serving tray. Give it a second for some of that hot water to evaporate and lay them down. Your corn is cooked, and now it comes to preference. For me, as I said earlier, I prefer my corn to taste as much like the pure corn as possible. So I keep it, again, very simple. I take a bit of salted butter, and I'm going to allow the heat of the corn to gently melt that as I turn around my cob. Not too much. We're not looking to slather this in butter. It's not like popcorn or anything. And then I'm also going to add to that some freshly ground pepper. A couple of twists, turn, go again, and I'm ready to devour. So, until next time, embrace the season. Get your corn on. I need a toothpick. Toothpick? Ugh.